So if you're scrambling around trying to put out a fire, then it means that you've missed something that you should have done earlier on.
Yeah, you know, someone walked in there with matches. Why did you let him?
Right. So fast forward a few years to the point where you really began to knowingly rub shoulders with what some of the people watching this would call the elite.
The minute you do a favour for one person, and it was gratis, favour, no money changes hands.
Right.
As soon as you're willing to play that game, you've already...
then you start getting referred.
You've entered, you entered into a contract.
The guy says, you got a problem? I can help you.
Yeah.
The guy helped me last week. I think he's good.
Yeah.
And so
and he'll keep his mouth shut.
And
he won't do something stupid like shoot someone.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
And I learned very early on that the best way to deal with people is financially.
Yes.
And in the most mundane ways.
And you told me...
and that is part of my character, the way I'm quite devious like that. And they love that.
Yes. About a month or two ago when we were talking, you told me, I think these are the words you said that you skin many cats perfectly legally using totally legal means.
I would say 90%, literally 90% of the things I've done are completely legal.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because people leave vulnerabilities in their lives.
Well, everyone's human, you know. People take drugs, they like women that they shouldn't like when they're married. If you have women at your disposal who owe you favours, it's very easy to ask them to do that. And we're talking about people that don't have the moral values. Not that I'm not being detrimental to them in saying that, because I don't have those either. In fact, right and wrong, as far as I'm concerned, don't exist. They don't exist in my world. It's just a complete fabrication to make everybody feel guilty about what they're doing. There is no right and wrong. There's just what comes next. We try and look back on it and decide whether it was right or wrong. We don't think like that. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. When you say we don't think like that, who's we?
Well, that's a big question, isn't it? Do you want to talk about the end result of who I'm involved with? Or do you want to talk about how I got there? Because you're going to work backwards. It doesn't bother me, but...
Well, there are various ways into this. I mean, it's a fascinating story, and there are lots of details that I'm hearing here for the first time.
Okay.
Although, actually, we've talked for hours. And I've been more than intrigued by the story that you have shared with me, because it gives an insight into how some things operate that I never had before. This is one of the reasons why I'm very grateful that you're recounting this story for people to hear, because it's going to be an eye-opener for a lot of people about the real world. And the way that I hear you describing yourself is that you've got your feet planted in the real world, you deal with the real world, and that's what you're good at.
Yeah, definitely. I'm in the real world. Where you live, well, not so much you, but where everyone else lives, it's just a complete fabrication. It really is. And you know, they know, everyone knows. They just don't want to look at it. They'd rather face the water and not look at what's coming up from behind and just accept it when it hits them. Most people will keep their eyes on the water. They won't turn around to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss, is what I'm saying.
That's something we can get onto later, which is something that I really want you to talk about. I'd love you to cover the intervening years.
Okay.
Very briefly, until we get to the point, and this is just a little trailer of a bit to follow, actually when you first contacted me, because I was a problem that needed to be headed off.
That's right, yeah. You actually became a problem.
I became a problem.
Yeah.
And so that's how we made contact with each other, and I would like to say that we have become friends since then. I'm certainly enjoying your company well enough to call you a friend. Haven't played you snooker yet. I don't think I'll stand much of a chance.
We'll see.
But between that point and the point that you're talking about just now, when you're starting to be recommended to people because you're good at handling things quietly, and efficiently and effectively.
With a minimum amount of fuss.
With a minimum amount of fuss.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. With none to clean up, nothing to embarrass people, etc., etc.
For instance, I had plenty of people at my disposal to do things for me, and yet none of them even knew what I was really involved in, and I would always deal with these situations myself, personally, without involving anyone else.
Yeah.
That's the kind of discretion that's needed, and you've got to understand at that point, I didn't have to. I could easily have pointed the finger. But the way they would have dealt with it would have been ridiculous.
Yes.
And that's the very reason that, you know,
Yes.
I was brought along like I was.
Yeah.
I understood
Yes.
the fuss was not needed.
Yes, and you became, sort of, in a weird kind of way, you became respected and trusted
Yes.
by them.
Yeah, I am trustworthy.
Yes.
If you ask me to do something, I will get it done.
You will do it.
If I've said I will, it will happen.
Right.
I may say no, but they will know. But if I've said yes, it will happen.
Right.
If you want to call that trust, well, fine. I call it my word. Some people have asked me to do things for them, and I'm already working on them for someone else. Do they trust me? Am I trustworthy to them?
Right. It's all compartmentalized. Right.
Isn't everything?
Well, isn't everything.
Go to work at ICI. See
Yeah.
if the guy at the paint counter knows what the managing director's
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So, can you cover those intervening years? I mean, this is like a huge life story you're telling
Yeah,
here,
this is the thing, you know, you've got to understand, in some weeks, several things happened. And those weeks aren't unusual.
Yeah.
And the way you view time, I do not view time. For instance, you could ask me a date when something happened or what age I was. I have to really think because it just doesn't bother me. I don't care how old I am.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, the length of time I'm on this planet is the length of time I'm on this planet. I don't care where we are in that at any point.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
So because I don't put those markers, it's very hard for me when someone asks me a direct question from their world to give them an answer that is relevant for them in time, because I don't look at it like that.
I understand. Okay.
And nor do they.
That is interesting.
My life is sequential. Everything is sequential.
Everything happens in sequence.
You know,
Everything's sequence driven.
Part of the fabrication is the calendar and the clock.
Right. Yeah.
You know, scientists talk about time. You know, well, they talk about time, but time's only been around for how long? Did summer still come, winter still come?
Yes.
Before the clock was invented? Of course it did.
Of course.
You know, winter's late this year. I laugh at things like that when I hear things like that.
Yeah.
Because winter's not late. Just the cage you put it in isn't working.
Yes.
Winter's not late.
I completely understand what you're saying. It's like a Buddhist actually saying it is the way that it is. You know, so everything else is just a linguistic. Right. Yeah, this is a linguistic.
Why do you think they're persecuted so much?
Right. Okay. So the intervening time, whether it's elastic or not, between the time when you started getting referred, between some people, and I'm not asking you to name names here, and I understand it would not be appropriate to do so, but some of the people who you work closely with are names who people would recognize in the public domain. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not my intention here to dig into that area at all. I'm more interested in the larger picture and your role in it and what you can share to help people understand the world a little bit better, because you probably agree with me, people don't understand the world at all,
no,
right?
They don't.
They don't understand.
And it's not their fault.
It's not their fault, because people have been misguided, misled, misdirected.
Every step of the way.
We've been lied to, we've been tricked, we've been deceived, we've been, you name it. We've been kind of made fools of for a long time.
Absolutely, yeah, through no fault of your own.
Yeah.
And I'll be prudent to point out that all the individuals that would recognise me from this video have absolutely nothing to worry about. They already know they haven't.
Yes.
Because of what I said earlier.
Yes.
But it would be prudent to point that out.
Yes.
Because there could be some very nervous people running around making decisions that are just going to get them in more trouble.
Yes, that's absolutely okay. And on record here, as I've told you off record, in making this video with you, it's not my intention to dig into those areas, to cross any lines that I shouldn't cross, to embarrass anybody, or to even be disrespectful, because there's a very subtle and important big picture here, which is really where I want to get to.
Absolutely. This part is fairly inconsequential.
Yeah.
It's interesting maybe, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's background.
It's background, and it may be that by now the people watching this are already wondering why it is that you have got yourself into a place where you're able to point out, if you wanted to, and if you could, to people how it is that the way they see the world is wrong, who it is who's really running things, why they're doing it that way, and who it is that you've really been working with through having become trusted and respected in that world to make problems go away.
To explain that, you'd have to explain. It's a very big picture, and you're not going to put that in a paragraph. Okay. It's very difficult to quantify like that. That's a hard question to answer.
It's a hard question.
You're asking who they are, why they've been doing what they are, and how long have I known them, all in one question.
I asked too many questions at once.
In one go.
Okay.
So
right. Okay, so let's back up a little bit here.
Okay.
It may be easiest to frame that around our first contact.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Why don't we build it around that?
Okay.
Because when we first talked to each other, I was asking you the kinds of questions that the people watching or listening to this will be asking right now.
Yeah, I understand that.
And so, can you say, why did you contact me when you did? Why did you do it?
I was told to contact you. Well, you arrived on my desk with half a dozen other things at that point. I didn't realise your relevance until I started to... well, perhaps I didn't realise your relevance until we started actually conversing. But then I've got to rewind a little bit, because I am also part of the problem, and I was fooled as much as anybody else until I did something that has left me slightly debilitated, as you well know.
Yes. Are you able to talk about that at all?
I don't mind about talking about how long I've got and that sort of thing. That doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I hooked myself up to something with the aid of someone else to educate myself about certain things that would be very advantageous, not even just financially, just generally advantageous to me. And the deal was done between that individual and me, because he could have got himself in a lot of trouble for doing what we did, and I could have. So we set up something, and it took over a year to set up for this, to get me in the right place at the right time, and the machine in the right frame of mind.
And you use those interesting words.
Because, and him.
Yes.
So it was a long time in the set, but it was a very cheap reason we did it. Okay? And it didn't go well. And it's left me terminally ill. And also left me with problems in my daily life, to deal with others, which we're experiencing right now. So when I did that, it changed my outlook in a way I didn't understand. That wasn't what I was setting out. I wasn't setting out to be sitting here. It was a dastardly deed, not a heroic one. Let's get that very clear. I'm not a hero, far from it. It was for financial and political gain. I did what I did. And it backfired.
And as a spin-off, it kind of deprogrammed you.
Absolutely, that's what it done, without doubt. Yeah, or over-programmed me.
Okay.
Which, I found myself being able to do things that I just couldn't possibly have any. I've got no background in that thing. Never been showed how to do it, and was doing it and putting a professional to shame.
Okay.
And not ever for instance, I've never played golf. It's actually been quite hard for me in business because I don't like golf.
Right.
Right. And someone persuaded me to take a round of golf with them at a very well-known golf course, a very hard golf course. And he played on that golf course most of his life, 3 or 4 days a week. And I slaughtered him. And I'd never played golf before in my life.
That's amazing.
So, well, it's just, you could say, beginner's luck. That's what was, because obviously I didn't do it again because of the amount of attention that was drawn. And that I don't like, no fuss. So that was frowned on, doing that. And how could I do that? And it was frowned on by the other person that I did the deed with.
Yeah.
Because that's going to draw attention. It was quite out of character as well.
Yes.
But I didn't realise I was going to be able to do it.
Yes.
And I don't really remember very much about the game either. And this is the kind of thing that's been happening. I've found myself being able to do things, and I found myself not being able to do things that I used to be able to do very, very well.
Yes. So it's almost like, this is very rough, it's almost like downloading a program, and you didn't know what the program could do until it started running. Is that close? Do you want to say that again your own way?
Yeah, there wasn't any download as such. There was an interaction
That was meant as a metaphor.
Okay, yeah. But you know, I understand why you said that, and I understand why you used that metaphor, and you look at it like that because of the products that are available, you know, in any electronic store anywhere.